This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website. Today I'm making a broccoli mushroom kugel. At the farmer's market, I noticed a lot of great fresh broccoli and mushrooms. So I decided to pair that with some spinach fettuccine and a great sauce. So this is a wonderful side dish or main course. Now I have 12 ounces of spinach fettuccine. Now you could also use egg noodles if you'd like. And I'm going to put this and cook it in the boiling water. I'm going to stir this in, and the package says for me to cook it for 3 minutes. So when you're cooking your egg noodles or fettuccine, do look and see how long the package says for you to cook it. And once the 3 minutes is up, I've drained this in a colander in the sink, and I've got it on a plate to let any of the remaining water drain out of it. I'm just going to set this over to the side. Next, I'm going to chop up 1 onion. And I'm going for a medium-sized dice. And I also got a ½ pound of mushrooms, and I've gone ahead and sliced those up. Now we're going to take the mushrooms and the onion and go cook that on the stove. Now I have the same pan that I cooked the fettuccine in. I'm putting it on a medium-high heat, and I'm going to add, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the pan. And then I'm going to begin sauteing my onions and mushrooms. And this is going to saute for 10 minutes. So I want to come back and stir this occasionally. And you'll start to see the mushrooms and the onions getting nice and brown. And then we're going to bring it off the heat. And I'm just going to set it here to the side because we're actually going to make the rest of this dish right in this pan. So it's just going to sit off to the side. Next, I have 1 lemon, and I'm going to take the juice of the entire lemon. To do that, I use a little strainer, and I run the juice through that just in case there are any seeds. And the lemons in my garden are super juicy, but they also make a lot of seeds. And I'm going to stir that in. And as I stir the lemon juice in, you're going to see that there's some brown bits or fond on the bottom of the pan. I want to kind of loosen that up and get those brown bits into the onions and the mushrooms because that browning has got a lot of great flavor in it. Next, I'll put in 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of dry basil. Now normally I don't use dry herbs because I prefer to use fresh out of the garden, but this time of the year I have no fresh basil. It's all been nipped by the frost. So I am going to use dry, but if you live somewhere or you're making this during a time of year, just double the amount of basil. So for 1 teaspoon of dried basil, I'd put in at least 2 teaspoons of fresh basil. And I'm going to stir that in as well. Now what's going to give the nice creamy texture to the kugel is 2 cups of sour cream. And I'm using a non-fat sour cream. So I'm just going to put this whole carton right in. And as I stir this in, you're going to see that this makes a really nice sauce. It kind of almost reminds me of a stroganoff sauce at this point with the mushrooms and the onions and the sour cream. And now I'm going to get the broccoli ready. Now I have 2 sort of medium-sized stalks of broccoli that I've gone ahead and washed up. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the tops off like this because I want to make some little flowerets. And what I do is I just sort of run my knife in here and kind of break this up. I don't want the pieces chopped. I want them in these little florets. So these are like a good size. This would be a little big, so I'm going to kind of break that up a little bit. And with broccoli, they come in these little bunches. You can just kind of snap them apart. And then I'll take the florets and put these right into my pan. And I'm going to do the same thing with this other top. I really like for people to see that this is indeed broccoli in this kugel, so that's why I like to leave the pieces, you know, in a nice bite-size shape. Now after you've created your little florets, you're going to have these stems of the broccoli which taste really good, but they're a little bit woody. So I take my vegetable peeler and I just run a quick peel down the stem. It sort of takes that tough outer layer off. And then I'll take my knife and I'm going to split this down the center and then down the center again, almost like if I were cubing butter. And then I'll chop these into about, ½ inch size pieces. That way they'll cook nicely in the dish. And then I'm going to pop those in the pan. And then if you have the little bits of stem that were connected to the florets, just chop those up. And we'll put those in the pan as well. Now you can see when I'm done here, I just have the very end of the broccoli and just some peelings. Everything else has gone in here, so you're getting lots of great broccoli flavor. And I'm going to stir that up. And you can see that sauce is going to nicely coat that. And for a bit more yumminess, I'm going to grate 1 cup of cheddar cheese and 1 cup of jack cheese. And then I'm just going to take half of the cheddar cheese and put it in the pot and half of the jack cheese and stir that in. And now comes our cooked fettuccine or egg noodles if you used that. I'm going to put that in, kind of break that up with my hands just a little bit. And then I'm going to stir that in really well. It's important that we get all the fettuccine noodles covered with that sauce, so do take the time to stir this up. Next I have my large casserole dish, and you are going to want one that has a lid like this. And I'm going to take my kugel and I'm going to pour it right in. You don't have to butter the dish or anything. And I'm going to sort of arrange that. And then I'll top this with the rest of the cheddar cheese, sprinkling that all over the top, the rest of the jack cheese. Then I like to take some unsalted sunflower seeds, about ½ cup, and sprinkle that right on top. I'll take the cover, put this on top, and put it in a 350-degree oven. I'm going to let this bake for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to take the lid off of the kugel and put it back in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes until the top is nice and brown. And the kugel is ready. The broccoli is cooked perfectly. It's not too soft, and with those sunflower seeds on top, it gives a really nice crunch. Now when you're serving this kugel, it could be a standalone main dish. There's enough protein with the sour cream and the sunflower seeds and the cheese that you could have it as a main dish, but you can also serve it as a side, so whatever works best for you. Now if you'd like to try this recipe at home, just go to our website and go to the Farmer's Market Gourmet show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.